welcome to episode 17. I can't believe it, 17 episodes of the Addydae Designs video blog. I'm Deanne, coming to you from Canberra, Australia. It is May the 6th and it is a pretty dismal wet day outside. Not the nicest, but I'm not complaining because it has finally officially reached shawl wearing weather down here. So yeah, can't complain about that. So welcome, thanks for dropping by. If you're new, this little podcast is just about knitting, crochet, pretty much anything yarn related. Might throw a few other things in there every now and again, but yeah, that's pretty much what it's focused on. So I share what I'm making, what I'm designing, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So welcome, and if you're returning, hi, nice to have you back, everyone. I hope you enjoy this episode. So I have a bit to show you because it's been a few weeks since I recorded last. It usually ends up a few weeks. Who am I kidding? So same as always, resuming normal transmission. So I'll get started, shall I? I have finished a couple of things since last time, so I'll show you those first. The first one is my Blurre shawl, which I was making for a friend. I think I only had part of the body done last time because I was still deliberating what colour to do the edging. The original colour I had chosen, once I made the body up, as you can see, it's kind of an unusual colour. I did the body double-stranded, so the main colour was this mossy green, and then I doubled it with a lace weight Misty Alpaca, which was a variegated, so it's given it this quite subtle colour change through it, which, yeah, it's looking a little drab on the video. It's a lot nicer in real life. And I chose this colour for the bottom, which I think picks up on the variation in the body really, really well. I was really happy with how it turned out anyway. The original colour I had picked for the edging just made the body look, well, it made it look drab. Yeah, just wasn't right. So I went through my stash and was able to find something. It was sort of, oh, that's making it even harder to see. It wasn't self-striping and it wasn't variegated, but it had sort of mottled changes to the colour. And that was in the Shopple, I'm going to butcher the name, the people that make Zorba balls, but it was a Wunderklecks or something. Anyway, I'll put the details down the bottom because I'm going to mess it up for sure. That's my German for you. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm really, really happy with how that turned out. This one I didn't put beads on. This design you have the option of adding beads. I'm actually wearing a Blurre today. This one has beads added to it. I'm not sure how well you can see them. You can see them in the light. But this one I didn't add beads to. One, I didn't have any beads that matched at the time. And yeah, I just needed to get it done to give to my friend. So that variation is written into the pattern. You have the option. And yeah, it still grabbed out the points quite well. Because when I blocked it, I just fed my blocking wires through the little chain loops in the edge and it pulled the points out nicely. So you don't need the beads if you don't have them or couldn't be bothered adding them. It works just as well without. So I'm really happy with how that turned out. It ended up quite big in the end too. So it'll be lovely and warm. I hope my friend likes it. So that's the first one, which I'm pretty happy with. The second one is a little bit smaller. I actually made these on the train. A few weeks ago I went up to Sydney to visit, well, not to visit, well, I met up with my mum and my sister-in-law. Yeah, my dad shouted us a weekend away together, which was really fun. So instead of driving the car, it's only 2.5 hours from here to Sydney. Well, probably 3 to get right into the city. Yeah, probably 3. And I thought, well, do I drive? And I went, you know what, I'm going to take the train. And it was so nice to take the train because our accommodation was probably 10 minutes from Central Station in Sydney. So I jumped on the train in the morning and just relaxed the whole way up. I didn't have to worry about traffic. I didn't have to worry about not knowing my way in the city. I mean, I've driven through inner city Sydney a few times, but I'd avoid it if at all possible. It's not the most fun if you don't know exactly where you're going. So the train was awesome. So this is what I made on the train. These are for my mum, who I did meet up with up there, but by the time I got to Sydney, I'd only finished one. So I made the second one on the way home. But remember the little glove design I was showing you, the fingerless gloves? I made my mum a pair. So that's one. I'll put one on for you. And I made the second one on my way home. Where is the thumb hole? Wardrobe malfunction. There we go. So that's that design I showed you last time. And this is double-stranded too. This is using Morris & Sons, just their standard 4-ply, their own label. I dropped into Morris & Sons while I was in Sydney too, so that was fun. And I doubled it with some Misty Alpaca lace weight that I had left over from another project to give it that sort of mottled variation in the colour too. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. I did show Mum and it fitted. We checked it all when I got there, and yeah, unfortunately we were too busy in Sydney to be sitting around crocheting, so I couldn't finish the second one before I left, but I'll send those up to her. So yeah, very happy with those. Mum likes them, so that was all good. I'll pop them in the mail soon. So they are my only two FOs to show you. But I've got some whips as well. So not too bad. My hair's bugging me today. Sorry if I keep fiddling with it. Try not to. I've done a little bit more on my blanket. Well, on one of the girls' blankets. I was up to here. I decided to put little markers so I remember where I was up to. So that's where I was up to. So I've added another 4 colours to one of them. So it's slowly growing. Very slowly. But yeah, it comes together quite quickly once you get into the rhythm of it. I don't need the pattern anymore. I haven't needed the pattern for a long time. It's because it's so easy to memorise. And yeah, I think the thing that takes me the most time is working out what colour to do next, because as I said before, I don't have exactly the same amount of every colour I'm using, so I have to guesstimate. There's something technical for you. I do guesstimate how much and how frequent to do each colour, because I've got more of say this purple I've got quite a bit of compared to the red. I've only got the 200 gram ball of that. So yeah, doing a bit of juggling so I don't end up with just 2 colours for a whole quarter of the blanket when I get to the end. So it's not like I can't buy more yarn. That's always easy to do. And Bendigo have a lot of the colours that I've used in here that I can reorder if I need to. But if I can stretch it evenly over the full length of the blanket with what I have, I'd be really happy to do that. So that's what I'm going to attempt anyway. So yeah, I only added colours to one blanket. Don't tell the girls. I don't think they'll notice. Yeah, so I'll keep adding to that and keep you posted. It's pretty much going to look the same. I think I'll only show you for the sake of saying, look, now it's this big. But slowly growing, it's growing, so that's got to be a good thing. The other whip, oh, I'm sorry, I'm touching my hair. I washed it this morning, so it's just flying away. Apologies. I know that can be really, really irritating when you're watching someone and all they do is touch their hair. I will try and stop. My other whip is actually a knitted whip, which is in my Mrs. Brown's bags. Crochet version, so yes, I do sense the irony. I told you last episode about, there I go, touching my hair, sorry, about the Avenues socks pattern I got from Mina Phillip. I didn't even remember at the time that I had actually bought the whole New York collection because it was such a good price. I forgot, I didn't even realise until the new the new pattern came out and I got a notification. I was like, oh, okay, I did order the whole lot. So this is the first one I'm making, and that's how far I've gotten. It's an awesome pattern. I think when I mentioned it, oh, I'm doing it again. When I mentioned it last time, oh dear, I'm sorry. I hadn't had a chance to read through the pattern. I have obviously had a chance now. It's awesome. You can choose to go toe up, cuff down. There are, well, in this one anyway, I mean, I haven't read through all of the collection, like the entire pattern range yet, but for this particular one, the Avenues, you can even choose how often, like a 4-row pattern repeat, an offset pattern repeat, I think it was 2, 3 or 4-row pattern repeat if you wanted to, and then whether or not you wanted it offset as well, which sort of just jigs the little bit of patterning there. I won't give too much away because it is a paid pattern, but so many options to choose from, so you could theoretically feel like you're not making the same pattern twice if you were to make another one. But I'm really happy with it. This colorway I got from Little Plum Yarn a while back. Little Plum Yarn? Yes, Little Plum Yarn. Sadly, they are no longer operating, but I've had this for a while and it has sparkle in it, but I don't think, oh, you might be able to see the tiniest little bit, but it's a really cool colorway and I've been wanting to make socks out of it for a while. I actually started a pair of socks with this ages ago and it was in one of my very first attempts and it did not go well. And I pulled it apart, but really enjoying this. It goes really well. That's also a Little Plum Yarn colour. It doesn't have the sparkle in it, but it matches really, really well. So I'm really enjoying that. It's super duper easy to memorize. There is only one pattern. I chose the 4-row repeat, and you only have to do pattern in, well, it's not even one whole row, it's half a row because it's just plain on the back and the pattern's just on the front of the foot. So super duper easy. So if you're a fairly new knitter, I'd highly recommend that. Very, very easy, and Mina's instructions are awesome to follow. So yeah, there's my other whip. Well, one of my other whips. I do have one. I've got others, but none of which have changed. So, you know, my is it Antros sweater? I've done a couple of rows on that, but nothing worth showing you. And I was hoping to put it on a larger circular needle so that you could see more of the pattern down the front, and I didn't have one that was the right length. So that was a fail as well. Sorry about that. I will eventually show you some more of that as I work on it, I hope. But it is slowly growing, and yeah, when it gets to something worth showing to you, I will. So yeah, you know I've got other whips, but I don't always show them. I'll stop waffling. I feel like I'm rushing because the family's gone out, and I'm worried that any second now they're going to pull in the driveway and make a whole bunch of noise and interrupt me before I get a chance to finish. So I'll try and take a breath and slow down a bit. I'm sorry if I'm talking fast. My other whip is it's barely worth showing either, but I'll bring it up anyway because it leads into something else. I am making another, trying to pull it apart while I grab it, another Blurre shawl. So I started, I told you there wasn't much to show. By the time I upload this podcast to YouTube, I will have started the thread in my Ravelry group for a Blurre crochet along. A lot of you commented after the last podcast episode that you would like one, so I'm here to grant your wish. And yeah, so awesome. It'll be so much fun seeing you put all your colours together. Some of the ones that have been made already are just so pretty. Colour combos are just, I suppose they're, well, with anything, colour combos can be endless, let's face it. But I love seeing what people put together when it's a multiple colour project. Some of the combos, my cat's decided to come up here, are quite unexpected. And then to see them together, it's like, wow, I never would have thought of putting those colours together. So I love doing stuff like that. So this should be a lot of fun. So yeah, pop into my Ravelry group I'll start up the thread there, and yeah, if you want to join in, share your colours, show us what you're going to put together, and we'll have a lot of fun there. And I will get some prizes organised too. I'm notoriously hopeless at arranging that early in the piece. I will try and get my act together, freckles, and get that organised so in advance. Not in advance, but you know, at an appropriate time. So yeah, that should be fun. That's my first colour. I'm really stating the obvious sometimes here, aren't I? I'm trying to use up some stash leftovers because that is really the idea behind Blurre. It's an awesome stash buster. Just go through your stash. If you don't have the required amounts for how I've written it in the pattern, it is so easy to modify, because between each section where you blend the colours together, it's just a solid section of colour. So if you choose to omit some rows in that solid section, do it. If you don't have as much yarn as that, I'll say stripe, requires, just cut out some rows. And even if you ran out of a colour over the blended section where the two colours are striped, it's not going to matter. I wrote this pattern for it to be relaxing, just so you enjoy the colours. I mean, it's not the same stitch every single row, so I hope it's not boring, but it is a relaxing project. Well, that was my intention anyway, so I hope that's how you find it as well. So these are the colours that I've picked for this one. So this first colour is a Madeline Tosh Merino Light. Oh my goodness, I love this. Single ply. This is in the Dust Weaver colourway. So that's it. I'll try not to blow it out in the light. That's the colour there. It has sort of a blush of a purple, but also some beigey, I'll say brown, but it's not going to show up as brown. But yeah, it's a really nice colourway, and you can see how it changes all the way through. For those of you who are new to my podcast, you may not have seen me using this stitch marking method. This just marks the position for your increases. I have talked about it in detail before. I will find the episode, because in one of my earlier podcasts I explain it in detail. I love this method of marking increases. It's so simple, and it's much easier than removing the little stitch markers that clip in and out, because you don't snag your yarn and things like that. So I'll put down below what episode I talk about that. So if you haven't seen it before, check in there. It's fantastic. My favourite by far method of marking increase points, or any kind of, you know, start of the round and stuff like that. Anywhere you need to mark in crochet, it works really well for. So that's first colour. The next colour, and I don't even have a ball band on any of these because they are left over from another project, and I don't even know if I'll be able to use it. I'll put the details down below after I go check them, sorry. But this is left over from another project, and it's listed on Ravelry as a double knit weight, but it's not as heavy as any double knit or DK yarn that I have. So I'm hoping it will be fine enough to work in with this. I'll see how it goes. So this could be a complete fail once I start using it. I don't know yet, but the colours work well. So this was my plan. So start with the Dust Weaver, move to this colour. I don't remember the name. Then move on to this colour, which is another Tosh Merino Light that I used in another Blurre for my friend Margaret. I think from memory that one's Briar, which is gorgeous. So you're seeing the whole purple-y theme. This one is that Schoppelwoll Wunderklecks from my Majura that I just showed you before. This is what's left over from that. But you can see in here, see how it's got the purples? So that is going to be my next colour. I'm having trouble. Then there's some more of this yarn left over. I'm not going to be able to hold them all. Oh, maybe. And then, oh, sorry, just reaching this one. And then same again in another colour. So, excusing this really, really awkward pose. They're my colour selections so far. So that could completely change if I use this second colour and it winds up to being too thick to work with 4-ply. But we'll see. It's pretty fine. I mean, don't look at that and think, whoa, that's definitely DK compared to fingering. So we'll see. It'll give it some texture anyway with all the little flecks in it. It's blowing out a bit. It's a bit more pinky than it's showing. If I hold it back here. No. It's like an ice pink, and it's got little flecks of blue and quite tweedy. So I think that'll be nice. So yeah, that's my other whip. So having a bit of fun with that. And we'll see how that goes. So yeah, come and join me. I'll be making a blur along with everybody else. I was hoping to make 3 springs with everyone with the mystery cow, but it just didn't happen. But I'm really looking forward to adding progress shots and things to the Ravelry chatter thread for the Blur Cal as well. I haven't set a closing date yet. I'm not going to make it too soon because, you know, I want it to be relaxing. I don't want anyone to feel they've got to rush. And there's a lot of things going on here at the moment too, so I don't want to rush either. Feel pressured. I don't want to put that on anyone. So all the details will be in the Ravelry thread. I'll make up my mind and pop them in there. So I'd love to see you there, and we'll put together our blurs. So what's the hashtag I put? We'll crochet our fade together. How about that? Have you seen all the beautiful, what's this? Andrew Murray, who did the Find Your Fade mammoth shawl, has designed a sweater, jumper, with the same effect, and it's beautiful. I can't remember what it's called. I'll put it down here. You've probably seen it, let's face it. So if you want to make a blur, there's plenty of dyers everywhere putting together fade-like kits that you could use for your blur if you wanted to buy yarn. But of course, you know, grab stuff from your stash, put together some stash too. What I did, or what I thought was a good idea, and Peter actually from Dingo Dye Works made a good point when she was talking about my blur, because the last colour you use is generally the colour that shows up the most because it's on the bottom of your shawl. That's a good starting point for choosing your colours, and that colour generally uses the most amount of yarn. So if you wanted, I'll get it out eventually. Start with that colour first and then work your way back to the colour that you actually begin crocheting with, because that's the colour you'll see the least of, because that's like hidden right up here generally. So if you want some special colours, pick them for the bottom of your shawl and then work back from there. You know what I mean. Peter said it much more see, I can't even say the word eloquently. Peter put together her thoughts much better. Oh, that's not even grammatically correct. She did a better job than I did. Oh dear. Right, so there are all my FOs and whips. I do have a bit of stash enhancement, as you can see. I got the last 2 colours in the Dingo Dye Works Club Yarn Club. Yeah, Yarn Club. The 3 months. It went for 3 months. 3rd installment. That's what I'm trying to get out. This one, oh, look, I didn't even wind it back up. I had to see what this one looked like. Opened up, and it's gorgeous. This one is in the single ply, the jumbuck base of Peter's, and it's called the Boab, which came from the inspiration photo, which if you jump on the Dingo Dye Works thread in Ravelry, Peter has the photo that inspired the colour, and there's a boab tree in it. I'm sure that's what that says. Yeah, because that's the tree. Yeah, it's okay. Take a breath, Dee. So isn't that gorgeous? Look at that. Hello, Freckles. Beautiful, isn't it? The colours, I just love it. And it's so soft. I actually have a project in mind for this already. I'm gonna team it with some Wallaroo and some blue gum from Dingo Dye Works. I think they will work really, really well together. So that's the Jumbuck base, and then in the Ridgy Didge base, this was the club colour. Isn't that cool? I probably should have said, if you haven't received yours yet, warning, warning. I'll put it. What's the point in telling you I'll put a warning up before now when we're already past that point? Oh my goodness. This one is called Mally Pink. So it's a gorgeous colourway. Love, love, love that too. So they were the two last instalment sections of the club yarns. And then yesterday I went to the Craft Alive fair here in Canberra. It's over the next 2 days as well, so it's a 3-day weekend thing, and it's 10 minutes down the road was the location of it. So I took the girls down and we had a look, and yeah, it was really good. It was lots of different crafts, so there was loads of stuff for people who do quilting and paper crafts and, you know, everything like that. But there were a few yarn vendors, which I was happy about, and yeah, so I had bought this. Now you might think this is an odd colour choice all by itself, but I have been wanting a nice chocolate brown in my stash for a while, and this was the perfect shade. So this is from Bellevue Park Wool. I've mentioned them before because I met Bill from Bellevue Park at the bus depot markets probably about 8 months ago, but I didn't buy any yarn then. So I was having a chat to, it was his son Jim there yesterday. This, I cannot tell you, well I can tell you, I wish you could feel it is what I'm trying to say, how soft this yarn is. It is, the fibres are about 16 microns, which is very, very fine and super duper soft that they make their yarns out of. They do a range in 4-ply, 8-ply, which is like fingering weight, DK, and they also do some 2-ply lace weight as well, which I have a little sample of, but not right in front of me, that they gave me to try as well. Insanely soft. You could make this for next to skin baby wear. I kid you not, it is awesome. So I got that from them yesterday. It's just a fab chocolate brown, not too yellow, not too dark, which is filling a hole in my stash. A hole, you know what I mean, a gap in my colour range. So yeah, grabbed that, very happy with that, and that will be a delight to use, absolutely. And then I also saw, now I'm going to forget the name, a new to me Australian dyer, the Australian hand-dyed wool store. No, the Australian wool store. Can't even read. The Australian wool store, hand-dyed yarn, obviously. Yeah, they've been around for about 12 months, and I'd never heard of them before. It wasn't until I went on the website for the Craft Alive event here in Canberra to buy our tickets that I saw it listed as a vendor, because I wanted to look up in advance whether or not there were very many yarn vendors there. And I thought, I haven't heard of these guys before, and had a look on their website. So I was very keen to go and have a look then. And I got these 3 colourways. Aren't they just beautiful? I have so many brightly coloured and like impact colours in my stash. I really needed to balance it with some yarns that, you know, that you could pair them with, because you can't, well, you can. Stephen West has shown us, yes you can, blend all the bolds together, but that's not really my look. And I've just looked outside, my family's arrived home. If you hear that, ready? Garage door opening. I'll be back. Okay, back. Sorry about that. Where was I? I was showing you these goodies, wasn't I? Lost my train of thought completely. Totally derailed. Anyway, I got these because I have, like I was saying, I have a bunch of really bright stuff and I can't pull off full bright everything. So these I thought would be good yarns to have to balance out the brights, you know, to use your bold colours with. So this one is called Strawberry Malt. It's just a really soft, it's a little bit more pink than it's showing. It's like a peachy pink with speckles. Maybe if I can, yeah, it's a bit hard. It's not really showing up accurately, but a nice blush pink. This one is Mint Choc Chip, obviously, but it's lovely minty green. And the third one is Hokey Pokey. That's the best way to show you that. It does have speckles. I'm trying to find some. There we go. Light's blowing them out a lot. So yeah, really, really soft. These are 100% superwash merino. Yep, I think they are the same base. Yep. 100 grams, 400 meters. So really good yardage in that, and they look lovely. I mean, they'd be delightful altogether, really, for a really softly coloured project. But they match really, really well with some of the colourways in my stash. I was actually surprised because while I was there, I'm looking at the colours, and you know, when you're trying to match something to what you've got at home, it's very hard, if not impossible. And I was trying to picture the colours I wanted, sort of neutral, lighter colour to go with, and it was getting a bit hard. And I thought, oh, I'll just grab these. And then I got home and really, really surprised at how well they match with some colours I already have. So can't wait to start using those in combination and show you what they look like. Yeah, so jump on the website. I'll put the details up here. The Australian Wool Store. Highly recommend them now that I've seen them in person and squished them, and they have a beautiful colour range. It's not all just pale colours like this. I was talking to, I think it was Jeff. Apparently it's his wife that dyes all the colours. She hadn't arrived yet when I went there yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to talk to her, but yeah, she does them all herself. So yeah, if you're, I often look at so many, because I watch a lot of podcasts that are based overseas, and it's like, oh, all these colours, and then you look at how much the shipping is to Australia, it gets a little over the top, and you know, I can't, it's a little bit over the top, I think. Well, I mean, if you want to do it, that's fine, I'm not making, but just for me personally, you know, when a skein of yarn is 35 Australian and then you've got to pay another $23 shipping on top, I kind of think, you know, over $50 for one skein of yarn, that's a little bit hefty for my price range. And you know me, I'm pretty happy to pay for good quality yarn, but you know, it makes it a little bit hard with international shipping. So to find another awesome Aussie dyer was great. So apologies for anyone from overseas who's watching this that's now got to go, oh, international shipping from Australia, it's terrible. But for Aussie viewers, happy to share what's available here. Yeah, if it's a bit cheaper. I mean, I don't know. Different countries are very different in how much they cost to ship internationally. I know from the States, it seems to be very high compared to, say, the UK. I know things I've had shipped from the UK are quite reasonable. So I guess it all depends, not just on distance. It depends on the actual shipping company. So that's all my acquisitions. I thought I'd do another sort of share the love type segment, just to maybe introduce you to a dyer or a designer or a podcaster that you hadn't heard of before. So this week I'm not doing patterns, I'm doing podcasts. And one of my favourite to watch is Jaden, or she's Little Prairie Pearl, but her podcast is called the Pearl Up and Dye podcast, dye with a Y-E. Yeah, check her out. She is a hoot to watch. She's very down to earth and funny, and been watching her for a long time, and enjoying it very much. So yeah, pop on over to her channel and give her a look. She knits and crochets, but most of what she does on her podcast is knitting based. I believe crochet bothers her hands a little bit, so she doesn't do it very often. She's also one of the dyers behind Mid-Knit Cravings, who dye up some beautiful colorways. So pop on over to their Instagram and have a look at some of those colors too. They're based in Saskatchewan, Canada. Yeah, so I'm sorry, just thinking for a second, talking about postage just before. If you're in Canada, postage, perfect. Postage, perfect. I'll get it out in a second. Postage to Australia from Canada tends to be a little cheaper than from the States as well. So that's something that might work for you wherever you are. So yeah, that's my little share the love segment. I do have one for designs. This is sort of a combo between flashback projects. Ooh, here's a new and exciting segment. I was thinking, I was going through the girls' wardrobe the other day and I came across something I made a long time ago, and it's crocheted, obviously, and I thought I would share it with you. So this is a bit of a combo between sharing the love for another designer. This is before, I made these before I started designing, but this designer is probably one of the main reasons I started designing, because I loved her stuff and I was very inspired by her designs, and wait till you see them. I haven't designed anything remotely like this, and you'll see why in a second. Now you want to know who it is. It's Lisa, I don't know if I'm saying the surname, Lisa Naskrent from the Crochet Garden. She is an amazing designer. She designs beautiful lacy girls' dresses, hats, baby blankets. I haven't been on her website for a while, but I just loved all her stuff. And if you subscribe to her newsletter, periodically you will get vouchers for discounted patterns and things like that. So if these designs appeal to you, definitely sign up for her newsletter. You don't get bombarded with spam from her, but when you do get a newsletter, it generally has a discount voucher or a pattern that's on sale. So definitely worth checking it out, and if it's your thing, bonus. So this is one of her designs that I did. This is, you can see why I made it so long ago. This is the lollipop sundress. I made this for Piper after she was born, and these are totally her colours. It is the most delightful little girl's dress. This is made using a 4-ply cotton. I cannot for the life remember me, cannot for the life of me remember the name. Oh, I'll find out, because I think I got them from some crochet something. They were in Kabul, just out of, I went there once when we lived in Redcliffe, because they were at the back of Caboolture. They had a shop front, attached to their house. I'll stop waffling now. I'll check where I got it, because their cotton is beautiful, now that I've been thinking about it. But isn't that just delightful? What a cute little girl's dress. It does actually have belt loops, which are here. And I did originally have a ribbon tied around the waistband for that. But yeah, that's the lollipop sundress. So Piper wore that when she was a baby. And I couldn't bear to give it away. Most of the handmade items I make the girls get passed on to friends who have little girls who can use them. I don't see the point in hanging on to everything that I make. Why would you do that? Seems a waste just to hang on to them. So yeah, my girls are quite good on clothes, which makes it great for handing on to other people that can love them as well. So that's that one. But like I said, I couldn't pass this one on. I had to keep it because it was Piper's first one made when she was a baby. So her dolls get dressed up in it now. But that's that one. Now wait till you see this one. Same designer, Lisa from Crochet Garden again. Look at this. Oh my goodness. This took forever. This is made using number 10 crochet thread. So it's probably like lace weight. This one's cotton. We were living in Queensland at the time, so virtually everything I made for the girls was cotton because we just didn't have the climate that warranted anything made of wool. I started this for Imogen when she was about 1, and then I fell pregnant with Piper and was ridiculously ill with morning sickness, and it got put on the back burner. And then I was worried that I wouldn't finish it in time for Imogen to wear it by the time I was well enough. I just couldn't do anything. I was so sick. But this is made using a 2.5mm hook. And at the time I hadn't discovered the ergonomic handle clover oars that I love. So I did use it with the, you know, stick old birch hooks that I couldn't even, there's no way I could have made this using those again now. But yeah, I'll stop waffling. This is the Garden of Lace dress by Lisa. It's got gorgeous little roses on the neckline and the cuff, sleeve. And then look, even the detail, oh, I'm not doing this very well, am I? But look at the little button loops. It is just beautiful. So it did take me a long time. I had to modify it a little bit at the bottom because I ran out of the white yarn at the time, and when I went and got some more, it was a different dye lot, and it really showed up. So not all whites are the same. So I had to pull it back once I realised, and I just finished the bottom in purple, which I had more of. And yeah, but it's just beautiful. And again, I can't give this away. So this is probably a little ridiculous that I am keeping it because it's too big for any of the girls' dolls. It's not getting any use at all like the other one is, but I'll keep it for the girls maybe, and maybe when they have babies. Although Imogen's told me that she's never ever getting married. Typical 9-year-old girl. No, we're going to live at home with you forever, mummy. Okay. But I absolutely love that. And oh, the detail in it is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So if you would like a bit more of a challenge project, I wouldn't say that you have to be an advanced crocheter to make Lisa's patterns. They vary in difficulty. For this one, I'd probably just go to the level of saying you need to be experienced. But yeah, and just work through it. Her patterns are very detailed, so I'm sure you'd manage if you wanted a bit of a challenge project. If you're relatively, well, not you know what I mean. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Experienced, I would suggest for that one. Taking another breath. Sorry. Maybe I'm having too much caffeine. I don't know. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to show you. Thank you for joining me again. There's a couple of events coming up. Like I was saying before, I've got a few things coming up in the next few weeks. I know we had Craft Alive yesterday, but in 2 weeks' time we have the Celebration of Wool special day at the Old Bus Depot Markets here in Canberra, and this year is the first year it's going to be a 2-day event, so the 20th and 21st of May. That's on. I'm hoping to be there on the Saturday, I think. At this point it's going to be the Saturday, so really, really looking forward to that. I've been trying not to buy any yarn online, which has been really hard. There's been some beautiful colours posted on Instagram. It's terrible, Instagram. Such a temptation. So I've been trying not to buy any because I've been waiting for Yarn Day. That's what we call it here in Canberra. So I justified these yesterday because I was actually at the event. You know, bought them face to face with the supplier. Who needs to justify it? If you see nice yarn and you want it, I'm not going to judge you for buying it. But yeah, sort of been saving my budget, let's say, for Yarn Day. I'm looking forward to that. So that's coming up in 2 weeks. I'm not sure if I'm going to record before then. So next episode might include some clips of yarn day at the bus depot markets, and maybe what I got there. So I hope you've been well. I hope you've been enjoying your crafting time. Thank you very much for joining me. Be sure to pop over to the Ravelry thread if you are joining in the Blurre crochet along. I hope to see you there, see what your colour choices are and what you're putting together. That would be awesome. So yeah, pop on over and say hi. Alrighty, thanks very much everyone. We'll see you next time.